How do I help my husband grow in his faith? Because men are not necessarily the spiritual leaders in relationships anymore. Women are having to carry that. So if they're going to church and they're doing all the things, more or less a routine, how can I help my husband grow in his faith?
Here's a question for you. Is marriage overrated?
Why aren't people getting married anymore?
A new Pew Research poll found that 2 in 5 young adults think marriage is an outdated tradition.
Marriage rates are at their lowest right now.
Is marriage really even worth it?
More than half of marriages end in divorce.
If you get married, you have to be stuck with this person for the rest of your life, right? That's why you get married. So that's why it's declining. Why would you get married if you want to have just one partner when you can have multiple?
Marriage is stupid.
Welcome to the Married AF podcast, the self-proclaimed greatest marriage relationship podcast in the world.
Whoa. You want to try that one again?
No, I don't. I think it was done perfectly. Thank you very much. Blah, 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 blah.
I don't say.
The greatest marriage and relationship podcast on the planet.
That sounded way easier to understand.
Matthew, you're the hot wife, Monica. And today is all you, in a way, for the most part. So we had a small group and finished it up with a Q&A from our small group, which was amazing. It was so much fun all semester long, getting to talk marriage and relationships and families and all the stuff with all these people. And we finished it with a Q&A and got a lot of different questions from a lot of people. So we thought, hey, if these people are talking about this and want to know about these things, others might too. So they were all anonymous. We don't know who asked what. And it was really, really great to be able to have those conversations. So we thought, why not bring it to the podcast? So for this episode, probably another one, maybe even another one after that, we're going to touch through these questions.
That's how many questions we have.
Had a lot of them. We're going to touch through these questions, talk about them open, honestly, and just give our perspective. Doesn't mean it's right all the time. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's what we would do in that situation, and things we've experienced worked for us. So you have the questions. I'm just going to sit back, relax, do absolutely nothing.
Wrong.
And let you have it. So the floor is yours, baby.
Let's start with this one, because this was aimed to us.
Okay.
You seem to be very much in love.
Correct.
Has it always been that way? And what do you do to stay this way?
I would say, all right, yes, we're very much in love.
Absolutely.
Has it always been this way?
No.
Yes and no. All right, let me explain, at least from my perspective.
Okay.
You tell me if I'm completely wrong.
I will tell you.
Yes, I've been head over heels in love with you since the day I first saw you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Same here.
There have been times where we are horrible to each other.
Right.
We were selfish, manipulative, went behind each other's back, tried being with other people behind each other's back, talked to other people, just terrible to each other.
We wanted to have our cake and eat it too.
Yes, we did. And a lot of distrust, a lot of hurt through all of that. And yes, there were days where I felt like I probably hated you. But I think it's because the deep love I had for you for so long, and so deep that love was, I could not let you go no matter what.
Feel the same exact way.
And I think that's what kept us together by a thin thread, barely. And most people would say, well, that should have never worked. You're stupid for taking her back after what she did to you. But people say the exact same thing to you about me. I mean, we were horrible to each other. It's not like it was one doing one thing and the other did nothing. No, it was, well, we're just going to be selfish and we're going to be who we are.
It was not one-sided.
We're going to be with whoever we want, no matter. It didn't matter. Terrible. So I think because of the love that I have for you and how deep it is, that's what kept it together. Barely, but together. And then what was the last part of that question? What do we do today?
What do you do to stay this way?
I mean, a lot of different things. I think it's mostly knowing the love that I have for you, knowing the crap we put each other through, to make sure that you always know and feel the love that I have for you, if that makes sense.
It does.
That I do everything in my power to make sure you feel the same amount of love that I feel for you, that you're able to see that in everything that I do.
I like that. That's a really good answer. But we also have full open communication.
Oh, completely. All right, we're open books. There's nothing we can't talk about, that we won't talk about, that we won't say to each other, whatever's on our mind.
If we don't like something that either of us are doing, like if I don't like something you're doing, I will be hey, baby, this has got to go.
This is what I see. This is how I see it.
I don't like this.
Don't like it. Help me understand, and let's correct it.
We keep each other accountable.
Yes, and we've gave each other authority to be able to do that in our lives and speak that in our lives.
You have to.
Yes, completely.
It also, how you say things matters. Because I could say, oh my God, why are you wearing that shirt? That would just come off horrible. Not that there's nothing wrong with your shirt. But I could, if I did not like that shirt, it will not ever be oh my God, why did you wear that shirt? It would be do you really like that shirt? I'm not sure that I like you in green.
Mm-hmm. And here's why. But I think you would look amazing in this. I mean, and that's a silly example, but it's just the truth of where it is.
I mean, even something so silly, that's how open it is.
Mm-hmm. If we say it, we speak it, and we know that there's no harm in that, there's no disrespect in that. It's only because we want to each other to be the absolute best that we can be, not just for each other, but for ourselves.
Yeah, there's no fighting. There's no arguments. We might not agree on things, but we're not going to continue to argue about something we don't agree on to be right.
No, it's not about being right.
We don't keep score, as in, because you went out and did this, you had lunch with so-and-so, I get to go do this. There's zero of that.
No, that's non-existent.
And we never bring up the past.
No.
That's a huge thing.
Boy, if we did, it'd be ugly.
There would be no point for us to be together.
No, you're exactly right. So how do we stay that much in love? Those are some simple things that we do. And we make sure we do those consistently all the time. It's not something that we will do for a short amount of time and then, we're going to slack off of that. I mean, it's consistent.
It's very consistent.
It's all the time. There's nothing that we can't talk about.
Okay, here's the next one. We struggle to find good Christian couples to be friends with. How can we find those couples?
Who are you surrounding yourselves with first? Good Christian couples, obviously, you're going to find that more around the church, period.
Obviously.
And, that's coming out of a small group from church, of course. This is that's part of it. Two, this was so easy for us because we've lived this, we've experienced this. What are they?
What do you mean?
What are the two things we said? Small groups and get on a team with somebody.
Serve
the church, serve other people. And it sounds silly. Oh, that's just the church trying to, get help and get people to volunteer. No, it is. It changes everything when you start serving other people with other people, and you get on a team with those people, and you see them.
You start doing life with them.
Well, you just see them on Sundays, but then you talk. And then you start having lunch together. Your families get together. You start doing a small group together that meets at night, and you get to know each other a little bit, and the conversations linger, and you get to know who those people are. And then you're right, you start doing life with those people. Our best friends in the world came for those exact reasons.
They sure did. But you're never more like Jesus until you're serving.
You're exactly right. When you're serving other people, you're so much like Jesus.
Jesus came to serve, not be served. And that's the same thing when people say we are the hands and feet of Jesus, and some people are freaked out because they don't like feet, but that's the whole thing behind being the hands and feet of Jesus is serving. And when you are serving and you're serving along someone else, it's kind of hard to not like somebody or why are they doing that? It's hard to talk bad about somebody. There's no drama in serving There shouldn't be any drama in serving.
No, there shouldn't be. And the amazing thing is that when you do start serving alongside these people, because life is hard sometimes and you go through hard things, you have people, and because they are trying to do everything they can to be like Jesus, we don't get it right every time, but they're doing everything they can. These people that you serve with every single week and you're on a team with, and you see them and you get to know them a little bit, when you go through that hard stuff, guess who the first person is who's going to be there? Those people on the team are going to be the ones who show up at your house. Those are going to be the ones who call you or text you or who you can reach out to, and they're going to drop whatever they are doing to be there for you, because that's the exact things that Jesus would do.
Exactly.
And that's how you create those relationships. So anyone looking for good Christian couples to hang out with, church, serve on a team, join a small group.
Find the church.
Yes. If you're not in a church, find.
Don't just go to a church and go, okay, well, this is it. Church shop. There are all kinds of churches, and some that you don't want to go back to because why? They are crazy. They're weird. That's not something I'm into.
Well, and if I would say,
try
if
something else.
If you're out there, church shopping, I get that. I don't love that. I get that.
We did that.
Well, we did. But if you're looking for a church, you're not looking for a church for what can I get out of this? Do they do things the way that I want them to do? When you're looking for a church, you are looking for a place do they put Jesus first above all other things? And if they do, that's it.
Yes.
That's
because
it.
there's some things that our church does that I don't necessarily think is something that has to be done. Like, I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't get it. But that doesn't stop them from doing it, and it's not going to stop me from going, because their main thing is always the main thing, and that's Jesus.
It's always Jesus, and that's the only thing that matters. That's one of the things I love with, you never know who is speaking where. You never know what worship, who's on worship at what place.
Because it's not about a person.
Because it don't matter. Because you're there to experience Jesus. So how do you find them? Find the church who lifts Jesus up above everything else. Start serving there, serving with the other people, join a small group.
It's a good one. Okay, the next question. What are the best ways to make sure you fight fair when you fight?
You said it. We don't fight.
Don't fight.
Now, we may have hefty, passionate debates from time to time, but I think with fighting fair, it goes back to something you said earlier, which you're not looking to win. You shouldn't be looking to win, because if you and I are fighting, and one of us is trying to win, one of us will, the other one will lose, which means we both lose.
Exactly. That's beautiful. This one is going to be for you to answer. Just you.
Okay,
right.
I'm ready.
What are some things that I can do to make my wife better?
What are the things I can do to make my wife better? So as the husband, what are things that I need to do as a husband to make my wife better? So if I want to make my wife better, one, you have to make sure that you're meeting her needs. Make sure that she feels your love, but feels protected, and not just, oh, big, strong man, I'm going to protect you from the boogeyman and the bad guys at night. But she is safe whenever she's with you.
That's the word.
She is safe, yes, from something.
Not from just a boogeyman, but from
she's
anything.
Safe from the boogeyman, absolutely.
Anything
she's
in the
safe
world.
from the bad guy, but she also feels safety financially and emotionally and mentally and spiritually, physically, sexually, the whole thing. Make sure when she is with you, she feels safety, that she is comfortable, that she could completely shut everything off, shut off her brain, and she doesn't have to be concerned about anything. And men, live your life in that way. Go back to Ephesians. Wives, submit to your husbands. That's hated. But men, truly love your wives the way Christ loved the church, which means you give up everything for your wife. Everything that you desire or you want, you put your wife's needs ahead of your own. And if you do that, my goodness, things will dramatically take off like you could never even imagine. You want to have a marriage that's incredible? That's it.
I couldn't agree more. Now, this one's a little bit opposite.
Okay.
We actually had several of these types of questions, but I'm going to condense it into one.
All right.
How do I help my husband grow in his faith? Because men are not necessarily the spiritual leaders in relationships anymore. Women are having to carry that. So if they're going to church and they're doing all the things, more or less a routine, how can I help my husband grow in his faith?
This was something we saw a lot of. My husband's not necessarily a spiritual leader. I see that. He even sees that. Doesn't feel it. Yes, we saw this a ton. So you're right. Women, for the most part, are carrying the spiritual load. And applaud you women who are doing that. Because that's not easy. And you're not supposed to do that at all. It's not the way it was created. Men.
I'm so glad you said that. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Because I feel like in today's society, someone would come back with well, why can't a woman lead her family being the spiritual one? Well, that's an easy argument there. That's not what the Bible tells us.
Exactly. Because you're not supposed to. Now, can you? Yes, you most certainly can.
Obviously, we're seeing it.
Because so many women are doing it. But how many of those women are spiritually exhausted? Because they are carrying that load for the entire family. And again, bravo to you women who are doing that, because you're not quitting. You're not going to give up. You're going to continue to do that. So hats off to you. Now, you're not supposed to do it. You're not meant to do it. So how do I get my husband to do what he is supposed to do? First off, men, you've been lacking. And we see this in the church. We see men are not being the spiritual leaders that they are supposed to be at all. So if you want to help your husband get to be a spiritual leader, one, you have to encourage him. Now, you can't force it, because it's a fine line to be able to skate. You can talk about it. You can encourage him, but you can't say, you better get your rear into church this morning.
No,
like you have to go to church. Like if you don't go to church, then you're not gonna get to do this. Or if you don't start going to church, and the kids and I are leaving it, that's gonna push him so far away. But you let him know how much you need his help, how much you want his help to be, for him to lead you. Because again, wives, submit to your husbands. Men, if you're a man worth submitting to and you're leading your wife and leading your family well, she'll submit. And submit does not mean you're a doormat. Submit does not mean you just lay down and do whatever your husband says whenever. It's not it at all. But let him know that you need that. And then whenever you start to see little things that happen, just small little tweaks and improvements, applaud that.
Yes.
Hugely. Like, man, if he says the prayer over dinner and he's never done anything like that, and it was, thank God for the grub, rub-a-dub-dub, something stupid like that. Don't roll your eyes and just like, oh, baby, that was amazing. Like, that was incredible.
Build him up. Words.
Build him up.
Speak it into existence.
Yes, and whenever it starts to get, listen, men, we're beings of liking that affirmation. I mean, you could, baby, that was so hot. Oh my gosh, you kidding me? She likes that.
The confidence that gives a man.
It'll build. Oh my God, yes, the confidence that'll build him. So, yeah, don't force it, but encourage him. Let him know how much you want to be led, and as they start to do it, it will change everything. I know there's some sort of stat out there that when men go to church regularly, they read their Bibles, they're involved in the church, it's like 90% of the time their family will follow.
Absolutely.
But when just women are going to church and trying to lead that way and reading their Bibles and do everything that they can, it's only like 15% of the rest of the family follows.
Well,
it shows men are to lead in that area. It's the way that God created it.
I mean, even TV shows show you that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, Young Sheldon.
Totally.
Mary was the spiritual leader in that family.
Yes, and boy, she carried the load as well as she could. But you can see
how the family did not follow in line.
No, and you can also see the toll that it took on her. I know it's just a scripted sitcom, but that's so close to what real life.
They're trying to make it as real as possible.
Yes, I mean I see women every single week who are just dying to be led by their husbands, and they're carrying that load.
Yes.
And when you really dig deep, you can see the toll that it takes on them.
On prayer team, you get to hear the things that people are praying over the most, because when get the courage to step from their seat and go pray with someone, being in community with someone, praying about where 2 or 3 are gathered.
His presence is there also.
And he's going to hear.
No, he's going to hear. And
But
he
when
hears
one
the
person
press.
doesn't, but when I would say the majority of the people, even on prayer cards that we get to read and pray over, their marriages are hurting. It doesn't explain in detail why or what.
We just know that they're hurting.
A major issue.
We see it every single week, and there's rarely a conversation on a weekly basis that's had, and it doesn't somewhere revolve around my marriage. I'm fighting for my life, for my marriage. And for the sad part is most of the women are doing most of the fighting.
Yeah.
And the men are just being, they're just dragging their heels, barely doing anything.
Yeah, that gives me to this next question. It goes back to the faith situation a little bit. How can I stay content and not fear the future when my husband is not strong in his faith and I feel the pull to start a family so greatly? So they might just be a couple that's been married recently or a couple years, and she wants to start a family but doesn't necessarily want to start a family because there's nothing consistent, and she's worried about that for the future. There again is the female stepping up, being the spiritual leader. So how can I stay content and not fear the future?
That it takes a whole lot of faith. It takes a whole lot of faith
On your part.
On your part,
The wife.
On the wife's part, it takes a whole lot of faith to trust that the Lord is good. And if you feel this pull to start a family, it's very possible that is from the Lord, but it's going to be on his time. And we're impatient beings, and we usually want that right now. And staying content in your current situation, I get how difficult that is. At times it feels impossible because we want to hurry. We want to see the results now. I think our culture of how everything is in our face all the time, posting the highlights that we see on social media, and we see everyone else's experience in that. It's like, why can't that happen for me? So staying content requires staying faithful. At times it could even be a test from the Lord of, let's see how much you trust me in this. I know how bad you want this, but let's see how much you trust me to show you that I am going to fulfill what I've told you I'm going to fulfill. And that can be difficult. And then you can couple that with what we just talked about in the husbands. You need to let your husband know how badly you want to be spiritually led. And as you start to see the shift and see things change.
Talk about that.
Talk about that.
Communication, which makes this next question really, really powerful. How would you recommend to start praying together? I am not good with words at all, especially when I'm put on the spot.
Yeah, this can be hard. Praying out loud is very awkward for a lot of people.
It is.
It's weird.
It's probably equivalent to public speaking.
Yes, the most feared thing that anyone has at all, public speaking.
Besides me.
Besides you. You not so much. But most all people are scared to death, more so of public speaking than death itself. So how do you start praying together? You just got to do it.
It's going to be so awkward.
It's going to be weird, but
you might even giggle a little bit.
You might. And you might even think to yourself, what did I just say? That was so stupid.
That made no sense.
What am I doing here? But you know what? One, if you're doing this with your spouse and your spouse is there while you're praying, that person is supposed to be for you and everything. So it shouldn't matter what you say. Shouldn't matter. And they may even think, my God, that was so dumb. But you know what? I'll probably say dumb things too. And that's okay. But also...
Heck, say that in the prayer. Let it be known. Laugh about it.
Oh my gosh, God. I don't even know why I said that. That was so stupid of me to say that. I'm so sorry.
Lord, give me the words to say.
Yes, because I got nothing. And here's the thing about prayer. Whether it's with your spouse, your kids, with another person, or just with you, just you and the Lord. He just wants you to talk to him.
Yep.
He really don't care what you're saying. What you're praying for, what you're praying about, it does not matter to him whatsoever. He just wants to have that conversation with you. You know, we talked to our son was asking, or no, he was praying.
Saying a
he
prayer.
was praying the other night, and you just made
Over
a mention,
dinner, yeah.
and it wasn't anything negative or anything like that, but his prayers had become very, God,
The same
thank you
exact
for this
words.
day. I pray we have a good night and a good day tomorrow, and bless this food, and and you just mentioned that, hey, when you're praying, like this is good. I'm so happy that you're doing this, but kind of go a little more in depth. And he even was like, well, I mean, I don't know what to say, and I told him, I was like, anytime you don't know what to say or what to pray about, and there's a billion things we can pray about, but if you don't know what to pray about, just start thanking God. Just thank him. Thank him for everything that you have. God, thank you for this couch that I'm sitting on. God, thank you for this house that we have, these clothes that I'm wearing. Thank you for this food. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my family. Thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for having a bus driver to drive me to school today. It doesn't matter.
Even the little things.
Even the little things, God just wants to talk to you. So it doesn't really matter what you're saying. So if you're praying with your spouse, keep that in mind. God does not care really what you're praying about. I mean, he does, but he cares more about the act of just, hey, they're in conversation with me. And that's all he really wants. He just wants our hearts. And how do we get to know him and have that intimate relationship? Communication. You got to be able to talk. Shocker.
Okay, well, this one's about talking.
Okay.
How would you approach an issue with the in-laws? Your parents start drama with your spouse and try to drag you in and put you in the middle of it, expecting you to take their side.
Oh, the in-laws.
Yeah.
Now, this can be a little difficult depending on the situation and whatever the in-law situation may be, because everyone's in-laws are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you get married, you're getting the family along with it. It's not always necessarily what you signed up for, but it comes along. So I would say if you have difficult in-laws, and it sounds like this is the case, that your parents are really trying to twist things from your husband and put you at the middle of it, it's not fair to you if you're going through this at all. But you have to set pretty clear boundaries with your parents. I know how difficult this can be. It's your parents. You love your parents. But you have to let them know, like, this is my husband. And whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever you think, I've always got his back. I don't care what happens, but I'm always taking his side. And I will never, ever take your side over his, because
It's not supposed to be that way.
not supposed to be that way. What did God say in Genesis? A man shall leave and be joined together with his wife, where the two become not two in-laws. No, where the two become one. So when you get married, you operate as one, and it is just you two, and you are on a team, and you are always together. Even if you disagree with your spouse,
We're a team, me and my lady.
we're a team. Even like if we're in that situation and something like this happens, even if we are in complete disagreement, and yes, I've got my parents' side on this, it will never in a million years be known to them. They're going to know I got my wife's back. I'm on her side every single time. I hate that you feel this way, but I've got her back on this, and I'm in agreement with her. And then behind closed doors, when you get home, you talk about that situation.
Yes.
Hey, here's the situation. Here's my point of view. Here's why I think you may have been wrong in that situation. Let's talk about that and work through that. But I want you to know I've always got your back in that situation.
It makes me think about a previous episode where I think it was where parents didn't like their spouses or something, and this one guy got offered $10,000 to leave.
Yes, got his wife's dad offered him $10,000 to leave the relationship, and he didn't. But his biggest question was, I don't know whether I should tell my wife about this or not.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I mean, you're a team. You are
There's
one.
obviously an issue that the dad had with a boyfriend or husband. I
think it was a fiance, and it was like, hey, here's $10,000 to not get married. So please don't get married to my daughter. I think we got time for one more.
Okay. One more. How would you advise a wife to have a conversation with her husband about spending time with friends, I'm doing air quotes, that are not good for him?
Oh. Okay, so wife.
The wife wants to know how to have a conversation with her husband about his friends that are not good for him.
That one can be tricky.
It's all about the tone.
It's all about the tone, how you approach it,
Timing.
how you say it.
Definitely do not bring this up after he's been out with said friends.
No. All right, so let's play this out for just a second here. If that's us, and I've got a friend that is not the best for me, or a group of friends that's not the best for me. You know this. These are the boys from back in high school.
Those good old boys.
Those good old boys that's from back in high school, but you see that they're not the best thing for me. But I can't see that. So how would you approach that conversation with me if that were the case?
We've had this conversation before.
So what do you say? How do you approach it? How do you approach me with that?
It was when we moved back to Alabama. And the moment everyone knew that we had moved back, they're like, all right, Powers, you got to come play softball with us. And this was almost 20 years ago, like 18 years ago. And I knew right away I didn't necessarily want to hang out with that group of people. They would get absolutely drunk out of their minds at the softball games, during the softball games, before the softball games, after the softball games. And it was just horrible. I couldn't stand it. And this was us before it was our BC life. It was before we could care less about any kind of Jesus anything.
You're right.
We didn't drink. I just couldn't stand being around them.
It was not a good lifestyle.
But you loved softball. We had just left Florida, where we were on a competitive co-ed team, and weren't necessarily co-ed teams back here yet. And so I literally had to sit with these guys. I mean, we went to high school with them, so they were always.
Yes.
We knew
we knew
everything about them.
So how's that conversation go?
So I didn't even want to be in the stands because I could see, I mean, it was just sloppy. So it was hey, do you think we should try to see if there's any other teams? Maybe one we could do together? Because it's just a little irritating watching these grown men act like they're 12. It's irritating, but if you want to stay, I might not come as much to these games with you, but maybe they're just not the best people to be around.
And I think that's the best way to put it is, hey, this is what I see. This is how I see it. This is how it makes me feel. Here's how I see it for you. I just need you to know that.
It gives you that option.
And this is what I'm going to do. And if your husband's really for you, and you are two becoming one, and you've given your wife that ability to speak that into you and to hold you accountable, it should be a pretty quick eye-opener. You know, if she sees this, it's probably not the best thing for me. Maybe I need to rethink. And not saying you just disown them, dismiss them forever and ever, but you can stop doing every little thing with them and putting yourself in those situations. And when they ask the questions like, what the heck's going on? Why you can let them know, like, hey, this is what I see. This is not necessarily what I want to surround myself with all the time, because I know the path that it can take for me. And I've got bigger goals and bigger dreams for myself and my wife. And you just let them know that, hey, I love you. And, you know, I'm still here. And I'll still see you every now and again, but this is not a way I'm going to live my life. And that's that.
I'm glad you said that, because years later, we did separate ourselves from that. Years later, even after we had cash, they changed their lives a little bit.
Completely changed their lives.
They were not drinking anymore. Realized that was not a good decision. Mm-hmm. They all separated, broke off into whatever.
And really, so many of them, the vast majority of them have all like completely changed their lives.
Now, like, it was a few years after when we first moved back, when you started, hey, they needed somebody to fill in, you're like, I don't know. I'll do it here and there. But then when we get there and it's not okay, they're not the same. They've made
different.
some tweaks. But now, I don't know that they all play all together, but some are
Still out there,
and it's great. But they also have completely changed their lives. And we've been able to see, they've also seen how we completely changed our lives.
Yeah, and we're able to see
They've all come to Jesus.
Yeah, and we've seen how Jesus has completely transformed.
And they
their
are
lives.
absolutely thriving.
Yes, it's so gratifying to see. It's exciting to see.
And sometimes that needs to happen for people to know how horrible they really are.
Mm-hmm. No, you're
Because
totally
if you
right.
don't, they will never know.
You're completely right. So that's how you do that. Totally. Yep. Any final thoughts? Want to get out of here?
It was good.
Let's get out of here. Lord, we love you. We are so thankful for all you do. We're thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for my wife and that we get to do this together and just talk about marriage and things we've experienced, and hopefully it will help someone else, God. We just pray that you will allow it to reach the people that need to hear that, whatever the situation is. If our experiences and our past troubles and trauma can help anybody, then we're here to be able to share that with others, because it was all by your design. And as difficult as it was at times, we are thankful for your design because it's led us here today, God. And we can't wait to see what you're going to do further. We fully trust you and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Play ball.